Tamil sources, and we must emphasise these are just Tamil sources at the moment, say the Sri Lankan army's attacked a makeshift hospital in the north of the country where it's been fighting last-ditch battles with Tamil Tiger rebels. The claims on the Tamilnet website say there have been at least 2 airstrikes on the hospital at Mulivakhal in the northern conflict zone, where tens of thousands of civilians are still trapped. These are alleged, let's take a look at this, and I say again, alleged to be pictures of the attack. According to the website, one happening at 9 o'clock this morning, a number of people dying in that, and another at 10:30, an hour and a half later. A total, according to one doctor in the conflict zone, of 67 people have been killed, 87 people have been injured. Once again, must point out that these reports simply coming from Tamil sources. We're going to talk to the Sri Lankan government in just a moment. According to medical sources, the ICRC, that's the International Committee of the Red Cross, apparently gave the exact coordinates, in other words, the exact location of this hospital to the Sri Lankan military 3 days ago. Let's check on that. Let's check on details from the Sri Lankan side of what is supposed to have happened. Let's talk to Palitha Kahona in Colombo, the Sri Lankan capital, Secretary of Sri Lanka's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Kahona, thanks very much for coming on to the program at such short notice. 67 people alleged to have been killed in 2 separate bombings of this hospital in the north of the area. The Tamils say it was carried out by the Sri Lankan military. What do you say?
I'm afraid I haven't seen these pictures or the report, therefore I cannot really comment on it. But what I can say is that the Sri Lankan security forces must be off their minds at the moment to want to bomb a hospital when they have only 5 or 6 more square kilometers to capture and put an end to the LTTE. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this story.
The pictures show a number of bodies in the grounds of what they describe as a makeshift hospital. Presumably your people have spoken to the military to try and find out what their version of events is. And what do you hear back?
This is a story that has emerged through the Tamilnet. And the reliability of the Tamilnet as a source of information is extremely doubtful. This is the propaganda arm of the LTTE, and if we have to rely on the Tamilnet for our information, I think we are not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but one of the first ways of double-checking this would be to call the man in charge of the army and say, what do you say? Have you done that?
Absolutely, we will be doing it, and of course we have the UAV, and we can actually verify whether this story is true. And then, as I said before, the Sri Lankan Air Force does not bomb this area and has given a categorical assurance to that effect. And for these stories to come up on a regular basis at a time when there is international attention focused on Sri Lanka suggests that there is a desperate effort on the part of the LTTE and its propaganda arms to do whatever they can to stop the Sri Lankan military from finally vanquishing the LTTE and returning the country to normalcy and peace.
Yeah. Dr. Kahona, I'm going to give you the opportunity to come back to us once you've checked this with your military. Would appreciate it very much if you did so. But yesterday on our news programs we showed satellite photographs of bombardment in what has been described as the no-conflict zone. I want to clarify something with you, because yesterday you said yes, bombs had been dropped in that area, artillery fire had gone in, but it was nowhere near civilians. Now I'm understanding that you're saying that Al Jazeera is irresponsible for showing these photographs and that we are plain wrong. Did it happen or did it not?
No, don't pose a straightforward question like that. This is not a witness box. You need to understand the context. As I said before, this is an area that has experienced combat for the last 15 years. The Tamil Tigers had a major Sea Tiger base in this area also, which came under bombardment. And of course, what we are absolutely certain is that these bombs were not dropped any time over the recent past. Now we have doubts about the authenticity of these photographs. We have had experts reviewing them and saying that the pictures do not indicate craters created in the recent past. It's almost impossible to determine that. And then, of course, the person who's supposed to have commented on this from a UN agency, according to our information, has no authority to make those comments, nor does he have the expertise to make those comments. So all in all,
I'm really just trying to clarify, Dr. Kahona. Allow me to come back to the original point, and I appreciate that this is not a court of law, nor is it a cross-examination, but I would very much like it if you could answer this in a straightforward fashion. Yesterday, you appeared to say that it had happened. Are you now saying that it didn't?
I did not say, I did not appear to have said something. If you have got that impression, I think that is, I do apologize for creating that impression, but I think it was unfortunate that Al Jazeera kept on making that assertion throughout the day. I think this is not the time to get cheap headlines. It is the time to get to the facts and work with the facts. And the facts are simple. The Sri Lankan government has given a categorical assurance that they will not use heavy weapons or aerial bombardment in this area, and that is it. We have given that assurance, and we stand by that assurance.
Okay, Dr. Kahona, would appreciate it very much if you'd come back to us when you've made a few checks. Thank you for now for talking to us here on Al Jazeera.
Thank you.
And at the moment we are trying to establish contact with medical authorities in that area in the northeast of the country to try to establish a version of events from on the ground, but it is well worth reporting once again at the moment that the suggestion of 67 people dead in northeast Sri Lanka comes only at the moment from Tamil sources, and there you heard the Permanent Secretary at the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry saying, as far as he was concerned, he had had no reports of this having happened. Moving on.